Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 187 of Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is David Howe.
My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest joining us on today's episode. The one and only Miles Luna has joined the show.
What's up? Thank you for having me, guys. Happy to be here.
Yeah, very happy to have you here, Miles. Miles, if you guys don't know, he's a games writer these days, internet personality. Very excited to have you on. We're going to be talking today all about the Video Game Awards, or the Game Awards, I think is actually what they're called. Not the Video Game Awards. Yeah. The old Video Game Awards. We're going to be talking about those this week. That happened this past Thursday. We're going to be talking about what we thought about the winners, breaking down some of the announcements, and what we think could improve about the show. Spoiler alert, this is probably one of the best Game Awards in a while. It wasn't total dog shit this year, which was nice. We also have lots of news and rumors to talk about. We've been off the past week. We did a special episode, so we got a lot of news. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Round 3 has dropped. There's a new Mario movie trailer that we'll discuss. A little bit of our thoughts on Final Fantasy Pixel remasters are supposedly coming to the Switch, and much, much more. Before we get into all that, how's everybody doing? How's y'all's week off?
Yeah, pretty good over here. You guys had a week off, but I was working for the
You were working hard.
The man is the podcast. So I ended up doing the Xenoblade Chronicles episode editing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, how was the edit grind? Now you've been on that side of it.
Yeah, it was fun. David, thank you for packaging up the episode. Made it really easy for me in Premiere. But it was nice to try and put together the Xenoblade episode in a somewhat easy and digestible fashion, while also going into very lore dump.
Yeah. That was definitely a fun one for sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Patrick? How was your week?
Oh, things have been going really well for me. I can share this. I got a nice game writing gig. I'm working on this game called Firefly Cove.
Hell yeah.
It's kind of like a pixel art, like farming sim type game. They describe it as an open-ended Dragon Magic Ranch RPG.
That's my favorite genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like Stardew Valley with like magical creatures, which I said that to Weebwitched, and they said, oh, so like Rune Factory. I'm not familiar with Rune Factory.
That does sound like Rune Factory a little bit. Yeah.
But anyway,
good,
yeah, it's cool. You can go wishlist it on Steam. And then I don't know, I've just been working on my game too, Monochrome Heights, and feel like I've got some good momentum on that. So honestly, this is what I'm trying to do. And it's really nice to have both things kind of going. So
hell yeah. Keep sending me nightly builds of that game, Patrick.
Ooh, I want to hear about that later off the show. That sounds cool.
It's good. I played a demo. It's
Patrick, I didn't know you had nightly builds.
I don't. David's being joking because I think it was like a month ago I promised him a build and I haven't sent one out yet. But
I'm not keeping track, but it was 31 days. I'm just kidding. But no, that's great. Yeah, I had a pretty good week. This past weekend, there's a lot of like holiday parties. Miles, you and I were at like 2 of those parties at the same time. Which was pretty fun. What else? Oh, I rewatched Avatar, the first Avatar, the other day in preparation for this new movie coming out. I hadn't bought a ticket yet. As soon as I finished watching Avatar, the first Avatar, which was the first time I saw it since I saw it in the theaters, I was like, damn, all right, I'm bought in. I forgot. Yeah, I was like, because when I saw that movie for the first time, I think it was like Jaded, and I was like, this isn't some art house fucking film. That's the only shit I like. But now I watched it. I don't know if I've gotten dumber or just I've killed the part of me that cringes, but I'm like, this movie was actually kind of fucking sick. So I'm very excited. I'm going opening day to see Avatar 2 on Thursday. So
I got to be so honest. I'm so disappointed that Avatar 2 is coming out, and here's why. Years ago, my fiance there was like a lull in a conversation at one point, and then she just pulled out of nowhere, so you guys excited about Avatar 2? No one had been talking about it. It wasn't on our mind. There had been no trailers. No one had talked about Avatar 2.
It was clearly on her mind.
It was one of the funniest things she's ever said, and now that the film's actually coming out, It's just, you know, it was a moment of time. It was a moment of time where that was the funniest thing that she could say. And now we have all good things must come to an end. And well, hey, of water will be great.
Well, I'm so glad that you're here and you told that great story, because I was at a party this past weekend and someone turned around and said, "Are you excited for Avatar 2?" This was not your then fiance. This was a different person. Just to be clear. And I've also, like, I've done many improv scenes where I've started a scene and say, "Hey, how about James Cameron's Avatar 2?" So it's been a joke. So I too am disappointed that it's actually coming out because I can't make the joke anymore.
Well, no, you guys
James,
you guys are in luck. You guys are in luck. There's like Avatar 3, 4, and 5 coming out. You can just say, "Are you excited for Avatar 3?" Yeah.
I got to change the number. I'll work on it.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
Yeah, Miles, did you get a chance to say how you've been doing?
Oh man, I'm doing good aside from my, the loss of a buddy. I have a puppy who's been so chill all day until the moment I started recording this podcast, and now I guess my home is under attack.
You're doing okay. Honestly, I thought you said until the loss of my buddy, and I was like, oh my god, is everything all right?
And until the loss of my dear buddy. No, I'm doing good. I'm chilling by myself for a while. My fiance went home to England for Christmas today. And so I'm looking forward to spending some time at the gym, taking care of my body, but not tonight. Tonight, I did get a voice in my head. It's a voice I get maybe once every 5 years that says, "Let's order pizza." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know this voice." And then it says, "What about Papa John's?" And that evil voice, that's a bad voice. And I should never listen to the voice. And every time, like, again, once every 5 years, it's like, but maybe though they got that sauce. I'm like, that sounds good. And then
the garlic butter.
Yeah, the garlic butter. That just awful, just pure like gas.
Yeah, saturated fat in a cup. Yeah.
And I have 2 pieces, and I'm like, well, this was something I shouldn't have done, but we'll live and we'll learn. Except I don't. In 5 years, I'll make the same mistake again.
See, we're a Domino's family here in the Switch Headz, in the Switch Headz community.
That's because
we're accepting of all types. Yeah,
you're of sound mind. That's because you make the right choice.
Well,
man, I'm good.
If you do order Domino's, you have to join our Discord and then post a picture of your order so we can pray for the person preparing the pizza.
That is actually what we do.
That's something we do in the Discord. Yeah.
I love that.
It's like, please pray for Jorge as he prepares my Domino's pizza.
Praise be the tracker.
That's
exactly.
Right.
All right. Well, last week we did an episode about Xenoblade, right? And before that we did one on premium edition games. We got lots of comments about both episodes and other things but just a few things to shout out, mostly focused on the Xenoblade since that's a little fresher. We got Hans Guger left us a note on YouTube saying they haven't finished Xenoblade Chronicles 3 yet, but once they do, they'll be all over that episode. And our friend We've Wished said, okay, they begrudgingly look forward to the episode, and it helps that Dan and Emma are on it. And then we got a really nice message from it's Sprowlix, right? Sprowlix, who we were affectionately calling Sprowl. They said that they listen to a lot of video game podcasts and that they just really like ours, and in particular the intro where we kind of just talk about our week and stuff is I don't know, I guess authentic in a way or something like that.
Thank you, Sproul.
It was really nice really nice note. Thank you.
We love doing that. And it's funny because we hate each other, but we're really good actors.
You should hear when we're not on the podcast.
Before y'all started recording, it was tense in here.
Yeah.
It was really tense.
What? It was charged is what I would say. Yeah. No, I really appreciate that. And I also want to give a little shout out to everybody who sent us photos of their years in review on Spotify and all the podcast apps that show you like what you've been listening to. Everybody who had Switch Headz up at the top of their list, that really made us feel really good. So
I think
we appreciate that.
The Spotify one was a couple of weeks ago, and I lost track of all those. But today or yesterday, the Pocket Cast one or whatever,
I think
Southpaw and Steve Irwin both shared that. So thanks to those folks.
Love
and
that.
Everyone else.
It's weird when it's like you listen to them for 2 days and 12 hours. It's like you just listen to us for like 72 hours
all at once. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And with that, it's just a reminder to everybody out there that if you're listening or watching this and you hear something you have a comment about, please share it with us. We'd love to, shout you out next time. We also do appreciate people reviewing our podcast on the platforms, or sharing it online in places like Reddit. And then always pop over to our YouTube, even if you don't watch, and like and subscribe over there. It helps us out.
Oh yeah.
And then, we got a lot of, I think David said this, but like a lot of meaty things to talk about here. So let's get started on the news. Mario Kart 8, we'll start there. The Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Wave 3 of the Booster Course Pass has come out. So we have 8 new tracks, came out, about like 5 days ago from when we're recording this, December 7th, I think it was. Not only did it come out with 8 new tracks, they actually snuck in a little update here where you can have custom items, kind of like Smash, where like if you wanted to just have, as my son did tonight, just have bullet bills and stars, we can do a race with that. And it's wild.
I'm going to say it. It is far and away my favorite course pack. Like,
of the 3 that have dropped so far.
The 3 that have dropped so far. I love the mix up of the maps. Oh my God, I love the custom item options now. I mean, Davey, we were fooling around with blue shells only, which is an interesting time. And then genuinely blue shells, golden mushrooms, and star power. That's a fun one. That's a really good combo, and I'm excited to discover more.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to do one that's just lightning and stars. And so it's like everybody's just like hoping to get stars so they don't get hit by the lightning. I think that could be a really fun one. But yeah, it's really interesting that they added that in. There have been some data mines, I think, also that show that there might be unreleased characters also coming. So I think like, I don't know if those are going to be full characters or costumes, because I think one of them was like Funky Kong, maybe, which would probably be just like a Donkey Kong alt, I would imagine.
Now but it's funky like, mode.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, it's like easy. It's like
all full of bills.
Everybody else is on 200, but you're just as fast. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, I think that it is very possible that they add. Clearly, the precedent is now that they can add more features to this beyond just the tracks. I think one of the things they changed is kind of controversial, actually. I think no longer when you're gliding does the lightning bolt affect you.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Or
so little stuff like that, which is I kind of don't love that. I think that's kind of bad. But like, so I don't know if that just like is something that broke with the update or like, I don't know, but
interesting.
Well, I remember I was complaining in the last update that there was a jump in that sort of treat. I forget the name of that level where no, in the previous pass, there was a jump on that sort of like where it's like ice creamy.
Sky High Sunday.
Yeah,
where absolute fever dream of a map.
Yeah, where there's a jump there where if you get hit with by lightning, you're just completely fucked because there's nothing below you, and like and so I wonder if it was something to do with that.
We know they listen to this podcast, so if you had talked about that, then that's probably what did it. Yeah, these courses are great though, man. 3DS Rainbow Road is a fucking classic. It's really, really good. Maple Treeway is obviously amazing. The Christmas stage with like the spooky ghost train that
Merry
flies above you.
Yeah,
that carries the souls of children who were bad for Christmas.
That's the Polar Express. That's the
it's the Polar. That's the real Polar
you.
Express. Yeah. But no, I'm also really happy with this pack, and I know it's a lot of people are like really frustrated and wish that like they would just make Mario Kart 9 already. I'm kind of in the camp where I think Mario Kart 8 is a near perfect game.
Yes,
and
agreed.
Just adding more content to it is totally good with me. So I'm excited for this next year of, I guess what? 24 additional stages. Yeah.
This feels like the consumer friendly way to do it. Don't make me buy. Don't Overwatch 2 this. Okay, just give me some stuff. This is great.
Yeah.
Also, now you can do a full Grand Prix of all Rainbow Roads. So that's fantastic.
That's true. That's cool. Yeah. Very good.
Well, a lot of content there, but also Splatoon 3 just got a big, its second season, chill season started since we last did a news episode. And in addition to all the new like weapons and stages, they also had the first big run event, which is sort of like a Splatfest for Salmon Run. I've been loving this update because it added a Salmon Run stage. and then did Big Run. You know, I'm very into Salmon Run, so like I've been having a lot of fun with Splatoon 3. I mean, nonstop, but like this has been great. And in the new / old returning, you know, regular battle stages are also pretty fun, just to have some mix up new stages, or returning as some of those these are, but like you know, it's been cool.
Yeah, what's the one from Splatoon 1 called that they added?
Flounder Heights.
Yeah, Flounder Heights. I saw a lot of people complaining about that early on, that they shortened Flounder Heights, but it's actually pretty tall still. I think it's like they might have shortened the actual towers, but then they made the entire map bigger, right? So it like actually kind of evens out. Yeah, I think Flounder Heights is super fun to play on. I like the new stage as well, the kind of like hot springs stage that's in there. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of cool stuff. Did you enjoy Big Run, Patrick?
I did. Unfortunately, this past weekend was my son's birthday, and we had a lot going on.
That is so unfortunate.
Yeah, he could have scheduled his birthday around not Big Run,
but inconsiderate.
No, I did have fun. I mostly just played with him, and I didn't really, you know, I kind of mashed A through it, and I didn't realize what the goal was really, like to get a ton of eggs, and I played with him, and so we didn't like my high score. I was like ashamed of it.
What was it?
Once I realized what the whole point of this thing was, it was like 70 something.
Okay, mine was 70 flat. So
yeah,
and I'm not ashamed of anything.
I can attest to that. I've seen this again.
That said, I really enjoyed it, and I just didn't get a chance to play it a lot, so
yeah,
I didn't get to like grind it. But man, it's such a different experience playing on a big stage like that too. I don't know, it was fun.
It makes me wish they were around all the time. You know what I mean? Like a Big Run mode, just permanently. That'd be great.
Yeah, just like Splatfest.
Yeah,
kind of.
I wish there was a Splatfest mode permanently, especially when the 2 years of updates are over. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I'm also I've been enjoying some of the new weapons too.
Are you still playing Splatoon, Miles?
Man, I haven't really touched it since I think it was like the first Splatfest. Like Ellie and I were so into it. She would play on the TV and I would play handheld because we each have our own Switch. And that was just an absolute blast. This was the first of the Splatoon games where I finally embraced motion controls. I wanted to like Splatoon more than I did for the past 2 games. Like everything about it I found so charming. I found the idea to be, you know, so unique. It's just the most Nintendo shooter you could make. And finally taking the dive into motion controls, getting my butt kicked for like a solid weekend was so worth it. And I've enjoyed this one more than any of the others. But there's a lot of games.
Yeah.
There's so many games. I do definitely want to come back to it. Honestly, talking about it right now, I might fire it up right once we get this podcast. I'm gonna be real with you.
We got a lot more games to talk about just in this show, so we'll see by the end of it. Yeah.
Well, a game that I fell off of in part because of Splatoon is Mario Strikers Battle League. That's another update coming through on that Nintendo's done. We don't have this yet, but by the time the podcast comes out, this last update will be out. This is the last update they promised us. They're just adding characters and stages and gear, and frankly, that doesn't feel like enough. It's not what the game is lacking in my opinion. I mean, I love that Birdo is coming.
We do love Birdo.
How could you not? How could you not?
And I will probably fire it up to at least test out the new characters at some point. But that game, it just sucks because that game, it's just like all the Mario sports games recently, where it's good. Like the actual mechanics of playing it are really great. It's just, I don't know. Nobody to play it with, and it's best played with people.
I feel like there has been not just the sports games, but a lot of the Mario spin-offs games, like the Super Mario Party, not the most recent one, not Mario Party Superstars, what it was called, but the one that launched with like 4 boards, and then that was it. There's been a lot of that where I'm just like, y'all got the nugget, y'all did the hard part, but then you just stopped growing this beautiful thing you had here.
Yeah.
And Strikers, it feels like the reception from what I've heard has been pretty lukewarm, and that's a bummer, man.
Yeah, I think it is a fun game, but it is one of those that seems a little undercooked. You know, which is a shame because it's next level, and they're known for putting a lot of polish on the spin-off games that they do. And they've been doing this franchise since the beginning. I don't know. I think there's got to be some sort of mandate at Nintendo, where they're like, these games are going to have like, you know, the
3 guaranteed updates, and if it does well, 10 or something.
Exactly.
Like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
So they just come out feeling a little, you know, little thin. Yeah, I don't know if anybody who's playing this game anymore, unfortunately. And this is the last. They said it's the last free one, right?
it's the last thing we know about. It's probably the last thing.
Well,
I can't see them doing like a paid DLC pack after this. Right? Yeah.
Well, hey, you know, for listeners out there who maybe want some Mario soccer action, but don't necessarily want to throw down for Mario Strikers, I got great news for you. That newest Mario Party one, the one that was just like, hey, these are maps from everybody's favorite games. Do yourself a favor, go to minigame mode and find yourself, it's called like Strike or something. It's essentially just a 2-on-2 soccer game where you have to kick a Koopa shell and there's like 10 Goombas on either side. And the first team to knock out the other team's 10 Goombas wins. My friends and I played that for 2 hours. Just that mini game for 2 hours. And it is some of the most harrowing Nintendo co-op, like, or not co-op, couch competitive stuff I've done in a while. Check it out.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on the soccer mini game.
All right. And you can play that online, right?
I think you can. You can. Yeah. It's
Also,
so good.
Switch Sports Soccer is also very good. You can make a Mii that looks like Mario if you try hard enough.
I can't wait for the golf update. Oh my God, David.
It's here.
It's out.
Wait, what? Oh, never mind. Hey, sorry, Splatoon. You called it. You called it not 3 minutes ago. You're out, Splatoon.
It's super, in my opinion, super under the radar. Like, I'm sure they put out some ads, but I didn't hardly see any of them. But that update already came out.
Oh my God.
Putting is insanely difficult for some reason in this game. I'm really good at putting in every other golf game except for this. But yeah, no, it's great. Well, let's play soon. Yeah.
Yes.
But moving on, Mario. Sticking to Mario though. They put out another Mario movie direct. Which I guess this is how we're doing this. We're getting these like
5-minute
interviews. Yeah, these like 5-minute Miyamoto talks and then an actor talks. This time it was Anya Taylor-Joy, right? I don't even remember what she said, but I'm sure she said she's always wanted to be Peach because that's what every actor in these videos say. I don't think she said that actually. But and then we got a new trailer, right? With this one was a lot more involved in the previous trailer, and we actually then get like a little bit of another trailer in the Game Awards. I don't know if y'all want to rope that in here or not. It's not like it had a lot more content, but it
was pretty sizable. But I mean, let's talk about that trailer first, right? Like it was definitely, I mean, this is the one that ended with, and they're all kind of starting to blur together in my mind, but this is the one that ended with like the Mario Kart section, right? Like in that trailer.
Yeah, he goes, wahoo!
Yeah, he does a wahoo, and it's like kind of mid. I thought this trailer was great. It showed a little bit more of the story. Clearly, I think the idea here is like, you know, Mario and Luigi get sucked through a pipe while they're doing some plumbing in what looks to be real New York. Looks to be like actually in Brooklyn. There's a street called Brooklyn Street. So, but yeah, and so I guess like they get separated, and then it's kind of like this quest to find Luigi or whatever. So Luigi is kind of the damsel in distress, not so much Peach in this one, right?
In fact, she's got like a katana or something, or like a big spear.
It's like a halberd or
halberd.
Yeah. She's going big mode. I'm into it. It's awesome.
Yeah, and she's wearing her her Mario Kart like racing outfit. It looks really cool. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm in. I think, you know, I'm totally in. Like I'm can't wait for this movie. I'm definitely going day one to this thing. Right after I finish my 100th viewing of Avatar 2, which will surely still be in theaters by the time it comes out. No, but I think it looks great. I think it looks really good. What do you guys think about this trailer?
I think it looks delightful, man. I mean, from the first trailer, visually, it's just like, damn, big flex. Looks great. Looks just like everything's nice and squishy. Everything's bright and colorful. No, man, I think it's going to be, I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions on, this voice and that. And I'm just like, look, it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a sweet kids movie that looks like it's also going to have some stuff there for folks that grew up with Mario. And like, if you're expecting anything other than that, it's like, come on, just let's calm down. It's going to be a fun animated film. I'm super stoked for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, totally agree. It looks really fun. They nailed the aesthetic. They nailed the music. Can't wait.
Can we also talk about Donkey Kong? because Miyamoto made a big deal of pointing out a new Donkey Kong render and a new sort of like more faithful to the original Donkey Kong, where his eyes look a little different and all that. And it just feels like that means something. I don't know if it really does, but like if this is going to be our Donkey Kong going forward.
Yeah. Well, if NPD is, or not NPD, I keep calling it that, EAD is working on a new Donkey Kong game, like it's been rumored forever, that would make sense.
Maybe this is the Donkey Kong we're going to get, which I like this new render of Donkey Kong.
I mean, we've been wondering too, like we've got like everything is around this movie. There's going to be all this merchandising. They're opening up a new park. That is in the style of the movie and all this kind of stuff. There's got to be a game somewhere. So maybe if it's not a new Mario game next year, maybe that new Donkey Kong game can release alongside it. I do like that the Kongs live in their own world.
Island is over there. Yeah.
Someone call it a country.
Wow.
Yeah, somebody call it a
Fuck, you beat me to the
Well, I mean, that would place Donkey Kong Country like canonically within the Mario universe.
So cool.
Which is kind of freaking me out a little bit. Which means Mario could fight King K. Rool at some point. I don't know. I don't even want to go open that bag of worms or whatever that idiom is. But I guess we might as well talk about the bit from the Game Awards that they also showed, right?
Yeah,
that was like that was a full scene, and that was like our best look so far. Like I noticed in that trailer that there still wasn't a ton of Chris Pratt as Mario in it, right? Like I think that they're like kind of trying to hold it back, whether it's because they're like ashamed of it or it's because they're trying to keep it kind of a mystery before the movie. But in the scene at the Game Awards, you actually kind of heard him, and you could hear his Brooklyn accent that he was putting on, right? And like now that we actually like heard him talk a little bit, I was like, this is actually kind of not that bad. I mean, I'm sure obviously it all would have been better with context, right? Like hearing stuff out of context is really easy to judge.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I thought it was actually kind of working for me, and the scene was great. It was like super fun. Tons of just Easter eggs constantly everywhere. I thought it looked pretty great, that scene.
It had really big Lego movie energy, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
It's a little like a literal walk down the street of the Mushroom Kingdom, where you're getting a lot of great visual gags, a lot of like musical motifs that are giving you some like good nostalgic goosebumps. But honestly, the thing that I really enjoyed about it was like, okay, so there in the second trailer, they did a like Mario does a little like training course in his like, I'm assuming his training montage leading up to fighting Bowser. And it's just like World 1-3 or something like that from the original Mario Brothers. And it's, they have like a fake fireball sticks and piranha plants and stuff. I'm like, okay, so there's all your stuff there. But no, in this clip of walking through the city, they have like kind of the Mario 3D land platforms moving around. And, of course you got quips about like, whoa, so these blocks just float. What? And it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But yeah, no, it's again, it just looks very charming, and I'm really excited. And I'm glad people see, because look, I have no super strong opinions about Chris Pratt. Maybe I should. I'm a voice actor, so I probably should. But I was just like, it's gonna be fine. Like, I really can't see a world where Nintendo, after the first Super Mario Brothers movie, was going to let anything bad happen to this one. And so I was like, I'm sure it's gonna be great. And every time I hear Chris Pratt talk more, I'm like, that's gonna work. He's gonna be great.
I mean, he's got a bunch of voice acting credit under his belt at this point. Like he's a good voice actor.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the weirdest thing about the lead up to the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I mean it. I love it. Did you see the like strange like character still posters that they released with text?
Yeah.
You just got Luigi'd, became like the new Rickroll on Reddit for like a solid 72 hours. Those are so bizarre. I loved it.
Yeah.
Toads just says fear nothing. It's like, what? Okay, sure.
I like that. In the background of Donkey Kong's, you can see Dixie and Diddy are back there.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, so they are putting like the actual Kongs in this and not just like coming up with nameless apes. So
honestly, the Peach poster is my favorite. It's like her bottom of frame, kind of like looking up, and like you just see the Mushroom Kingdom behind her. It's just a really, really pretty like image. Yeah. It's great. I encourage you to look it up. It's awesome.
Well, moving on. Unfortunately, there's been more drama in the Smash Ultimate competitive scene. I'll be honest that like I have kind of been so overwhelmed by this. I haven't closely understood it, but a bunch of but I guess we can say that there are three sort of players here, and it's Video Game Boot Camp, and Panda and Nintendo. And essentially the tournaments for the end of the year got canceled. Sort of finger pointing going around about why and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the players seem to be blaming Panda and Nintendo and siding with Video Game Boot Camp, despite, contrary kind of statements and all that. And it just sounds like a mess. And it's just unfortunate that this happened and that there, aren't, after we were so excited, what was it, like 10 months ago when there was news that there would be official tournaments.
Right.
And like, I don't know. My guess is that Nintendo is just really nervous about these events because of all the bad press around, the
whole pedophilia
sexual
thing.
abuse.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to sponsor anything that doesn't adhere to like some, I don't know what, you know what I mean? What their guidelines or whatever are. And I'm guessing that they would rather just cancel things than have any ambiguity or any problems because of that. And that's probably what's driving it. That's a speculation on my part, but
yeah. Yeah, I wish I could add more to this, but I kind of also purposefully have been avoiding this. I'm just like, anytime I see Smash drama now, I'm just like, I don't think I even want to know, it's like, and it's it's a real shame. People were excited. I think it was a big step of Nintendo actually starting to, really support the scene because it is a robust scene and it's been around for a long time. But, yeah, I mean, I know the CEO of Panda stepped down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's about all I really know.
A ton of people quit
right
Panda too, like all their esports players and stuff like that do Smash quit. So like, I don't know if Panda is much longer. We'll see.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe we're kind of glossing over this, but like that's maybe the best we can do.
just wave dash out of the way of all this drama. All right.
Yeah, man, drama does just cling to the Smash community, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's unfortunate. Hopefully, whatever can rise from the ashes from all this,
agreed,
will be good. But
it's just Kirby. Kirby's always the one to survive.
That's true. Well,
he always makes it. Yeah.
And then we'll move on to, the Final Fantasy pixel remasters of the first 6 games. I've long been wondering, why aren't these on the Switch? Well, it sounds like that day is coming. The ESRB, that's the, United States rating board, has apparently rated these games for the Switch and PlayStation. So, they've been on PC only, right?
PC and mobile.
Oh, and that's right. PC and cell
mobile.
phones.
I don't know why I said it like a British guy.
I liked it.
Yeah.
No, it was nice. It added some class to it.
Yeah.
I don't know, what is ratings can be done as much as like 6 months early, I think. So who knows when this will actually release, but
there is, I think, tomorrow in Japan, a 35th anniversary of Final Fantasy stream happening.
So maybe by the time this episode comes out, we might have a date.
I would guess that by the time this episode comes out, they'll announce that. But I mean, it's maybe not. There's no American stream announced for that, so we'll see. But either way, this is exciting. I've purposefully not bought them on my Steam Deck because I have Final Fantasy like 7 through 10 on my Switch, and I just really want to see all 10 of them lined up in a row on my Switch's home screen. So that'll hopefully happen soon.
That'll be cool. And then we're gonna get back onto our Microsoft Activision merger news here. So we've been gone for 2 weeks here, so we missed a few things, but we'll start with the fact that Phil Spencer kind of like publicly was saying that Microsoft is going to be bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo for a 10-year commitment. And I think they've also said they're going to bring it to Steam and other places, trying to, I think, Matthew, you want to do the analysis here, right? They're trying to get ahead of stuff, or they were, and then they didn't. but go ahead, Matthew, you're our Take point here.
Antitrust expert is what I definitely am. Definitely, this is all legal advice. 100% legal advice.
You are a lawyer, yes.
Yeah, I am 100% a lawyer.
Oh gosh, y'all, no.
Yeah, no, just kidding. No, not at all. That's satire. This is parody law.
I'm the lawyer, so if I say anything, you can trust me. But I'm
the fucking lawyer.
Okay.
You can't handle the truth.
This is a law podcast now. Essentially, Phil Spencer made a tweet that said they entered into a 10-year commitment to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo. They don't say Switch specifically. I think it's interesting they say Nintendo. So ongoing. So maybe not Switch, but maybe whatever comes after Switch. I do think this is great for Switch, great for Microsoft, great for Nintendo, but also part of the marketing efforts for the Microsoft's efforts to convince other regulatory bodies to allow Microsoft to go through with the purchase and acquisition of Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then FTC is trying to block. So they sued Microsoft in order to block the acquisition. I find it interesting. They're using a couple different lines from what Microsoft shared with the European Commission, which is the FTC in Europe. They said that Microsoft promised the European Commission that they would not have games from ZeniMax, Bethesda games, exclusive to their consoles after the acquisition. This was the FTC says, but looking at the agreement that Microsoft made to the European Commission, it wasn't quite that clear. There's a bunch of legalese that I'm not an expert on, but I don't fully understand. But in short, it is basically trying to say that Microsoft is trying to say that after this acquisition, that Sony's trying to say that Microsoft's trying to sell more consoles in order to bring people into the Xbox franchise, but it is almost an implausibility for them to make these games exclusive because they will lose more money if they made them exclusive, and further that it wouldn't cause them buying these companies wouldn't cause any harm to these other, to Sony, to Nintendo, because they're not going to make them exclusive because they make more money for these games being on other platforms.
Right. But I think, yeah. I think ultimately, I think it is good that this was blocked or is being sued to be blocked, right? I think big, giant mergers like this are problematic by nature, are ultimately bad for the industry. Microsoft has had decades history of antitrust issues. They've been sued for this kind of stuff before, right? But it's also complicated. Like I kind of was ready for this thing to just happen already in my head. You know what I mean? And it's like Sony hasn't made it easy for me to be on their side on all of this. You know what I mean? I think I'm just surprised that it didn't go through, with Microsoft trying to have been as diligent as possible on crossing every single T and dotting every single I. I don't know what more they could have done other than say, we're going to bring all these stuff to these consoles. Valve even, what was it? Gabe Newell was quoted being like, oh, we don't need to go into a 10-year agreement with Microsoft because we just trust that they would do it. You know what I mean? He's like, we've got every Microsoft game on our thing already. We don't need to tell them to tell us that they're going to do it. Right. So I don't know. It's a very conflicting, kind of weird time right now. For sure. Well, I'm very interested to see what happens. This has become quite the corporate drama that has been happening over the past few months. For my money, I think I don't think Sony cares about them being like, hey, we're still going to sell this stuff on your platform, right? Because they just don't want it fucking on Game Pass.
Yeah.
They don't care if it's on other platforms. If people get it for free on Game Pass, then they'll just do that. You know what I mean? And that's what they're really scared of, right? And not having the ability to put it on their own subscription service, which Microsoft would never do, right?
I feel like I have lived a lifespan of just Game Pass gets started, and it's just like, oh, what a new and interesting thing. I wonder if this is going to work out for Microsoft. Fast forward, I felt like I blinked, and then I was like, oh wow, Game Pass is like really starting to like hold its own. This seems like a really cool. And then I blinked again, and it's like, stop feeding the Game Pass. It's growing too strong.
Yeah,
it's wild, man. It's wild.
I mean, it's only it's a matter of time before they raise the price on it too. I think that.
Oh yeah,
I think if this thing had gone through, they probably would have raised the price like pretty quickly, right? Now we'll kind of see. I mean, they've got a lot of. This thing does get successfully blocked. Like they're gonna have a lot of money to spend there. They're gonna have a $70 billion burning a hole in their pocket.
I'll be surprised if it gets blocked.
Yeah,
that's not just I'm trying to be a nihilist here. But based on the current arguments and the current things that FTC is saying, there was the European Commission sent out a tweet that says we don't agree with the FTC's what they're saying and why they're suing Microsoft, that they are using our legalese incorrectly. I thought it was interesting.
Oh, wow.
I think in short, if anything will happen, parts of Activision Blizzard will be sold to Microsoft.
Yeah,
maybe not all of it. Maybe just Activision, and Blizzard.
Just Crash.
Yeah,
just Crash Bandicoot.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. And Tony Hawk Pro Skater, that one for. Did they make the first one? I don't know.
Only Neversoft.
Only Neversoft. That's it.
I don't know if Neversoft is still around. Actually, probably not.
I think this is a huge case, not just for the game industry, but for big tech antitrust. This is just the start of it. With the Democratic Senate coming in next year, I think the Democratic senators are really going to go look at big tech to start regulating big tech.
To break up a lot of the big players. Yeah.
Yep. And this is the largest purchase. And if this goes through or doesn't go through, the impact it'll affect markets in all lines of businesses everywhere, always.
Real briefly too, we should mention that during our couple weeks off, the second union formed at Blizzard is another QA union formed.
Good for them.
Blizzard Albany. And I don't 100% know exactly where they are in the process, but they voted to it or whatever, and so it's in process. So that's happening as well. And it kind of swept under the rug by all this news. So
yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people continuing to get hired at Activision and Blizzard throughout this whole thing. I think that everyone at Activision is operating as if this thing is going to go through. You know what I mean? Like I know personally like 3 or 4 friends that like just got jobs at Activision, right? And this, I know obviously that's just what I see, but it's like yeah, it's anecdotal. I always forget that word. But it's, I think like what is going to happen to Activision if this doesn't go through? You know what I mean? I think they might not be around too much longer. You know what I mean? Because I mean, investors are going to all pull out. And, I don't know. It's just such a crazy time right now.
I'm so tired of living in a crazy time.
Yeah, me too.
Get ready.
Let's get David Bowie back.
So the last bit of news, I thought this was interesting. Apparently in Canada, there has been a lawsuit kind of just sitting around since 2019, a class action lawsuit against Epic Games for making Fortnite, knowingly making Fortnite addictive. And they just got the green light from whatever the process is in Canada for this class action lawsuit to move forward. I don't know why that takes 3 years, but apparently it does, and it did. And now this is happening. So fascinating that there is a lawsuit for intentionally making a game addictive for children that's free, but you know what I mean? Like I'm curious what, I guess I could probably track down the lawsuit and read it, but yeah, this is happening. I don't know what will happen there.
I don't know, man. I was able to quit Fortnite cold turkey pretty easily.
Me too.
I did not need to like wane off of it. Basically, as soon as it got too complicated, I was like, I can't do this anymore, and just stopped. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know don't know if that's reason for it to be illegal. That doesn't seem very.
What's interesting that what I'm seeing here in the article is one of the attorneys associated with the case claimed that Epic Games hired psychologists, quote, in an effort to make Fortnite again, quote, as addictive as possible. Which, if that is true, if those words were said, incredible. Listen. Excuse me, doctor. I have one job for you. Listen close.
We need to just shut down the whole UI UX because that's what those people do, right? They are like, they are just trying to, or maybe that's
the drip feed of positive,
and software in general. They're trying to keep it, their words are like retention and whatever what's the one I'm not thinking of, like, but whatever. Yeah.
I think the most interesting thing from this article is it comes from a parent who used this legal group. They said that one child had reportedly had over 7,700 hours logged in the game over 2 years, which is 320 days.
And that's where you say,
I think that kid just left the game running.
Yeah,
maybe. How is the parent not at fault in some level of that?
Yeah.
Like,
it's totally neglect. I haven't seen my kid in years. Yeah.
He's playing Fortnite. We're gonna sue him.
Yeah,
he's literally in Fortnite.
Oh yeah, that's my kid.
Yeah.
Y'all, you don't understand. The Rock is foundation. You can. Oh my god, it's addictive.
I don't know what the end game is here for suing Epic, if it's like to make a couple $1,000, or maybe the only thing that I could possibly see happening years, maybe a decade longer, is we get warning, just like cigarettes or other things. We get like a warning screen before every video game that has loot boxes. We get like, do you agree that this is highly addictive?
Right.
We press A.
Well, there aren't loot boxes in Fortnite, right? Like everything's pretty clearly laid out, right? Like what you can get. I don't think there's any gambling.
Well, you play the game, you collect points and use those points to buy things. So maybe that is like an actual user agreement where you have to agree to that the thing that you're engaging in is addictive. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just guessing here.
I don't know what Epic's parental controls are like. But recently my son was interested in playing Among Us, and to have an Among Us account is, now I think you can lie and put your age as older. And I don't know if there's anything that Inner Sloth or whatever does, but like I had to do a bunch of stuff to approve his Among Us account, and like to all sorts of stuff I can control. And I can only imagine that exists.
Yeah,
in Epic and for like it has to. So I'm like, what? This is the parents' fault, right?
Yeah. Epic Games. So another quote from the article here. The spokesperson for Epic Games, Natalie Munoz, said that, quote, industry leading parental controls empower parents to supervise their child's digital experience. And then parents can also receive playtime reports that track the amount of time spent in-game each week, and permissions are needed before any in-game purchases can be made for younger users. So
this is giving me Sue McDonald's because the coffee's hot energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like the coffee was hot, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't she really like burn herself? Like,
yeah, she
yeah, but that's because it's coffee.
It was insanely hot coffee though. It was kind of like ridiculously hot coffee. It was very messy situation.
Yeah. I'm not.
We'll move on.
I'm a lawyer, so I know all these things. So okay.
Look,
okay, I work for big Mr. Coffee lobby. Okay.
All I'll say is this: if games have to start putting a warning at the beginning of them to let them know how addictive that is, that's just going to get someone like me really stoked. That's like saying, like, "Hey, kid, do you want to play the coolest, fucking, most addictive shit ever?" You bet I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is silly. I think this legal group or this law firm is taking advantage of these parents who are probably they need to spend some time with their children to like talk to them. And this is just to poke at the legal system to see what kind of regulation we can introduce.
I agree.
All right. Well, we've got a lot more to talk about because there was a ton of news announced at the Game Awards as well. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about all the awards and yada yada. It's going to be great. So stick around. After this short break, we're going to come back and talk all about the Game Awards. All right, we are back this week. We are talking about the Game Awards. So yeah, the Game Awards just happened. Past Thursday night. What was that? December 8th. And yeah, I don't know, like a 3.5 hour long
It's
event.
like 3.5 hours. And I don't even know if that includes the pre-show. It was long.
So
yeah, and the first acceptance speech didn't help.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like
So-
a 10
long
minutes,
show. It was a
10
long
minute
show.
speech. Yeah.
I think that is a criticism to be had. We will talk about more criticisms, but general impressions. I'm going to first up be honest that I couldn't watch it live that night, so I did not watch the thing in its entirety. But I spent time kind of just scrubbing around on the video and randomly watching bits and taking in, like, you know, summaries of things and all that. So my impressions might not be fair to somebody who sat there for 3.5 hours. But
are your impressions ever fair, Patrick?
Yeah, no. I really wanted to actually watch the whole thing today, but I couldn't finish it. So 3.5 hours. But so my takeaway was kind of what you said earlier, David, which is that this was great. Like I mean, an improvement, better than previous years, right? That's how I kind of felt. Like,
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I did watch most of this live. We were watching it in the kind of having a chat going in the Discord while it was going live. That was super fun. So thanks to everybody who joined in for that. You know, I had to do my comedy show that night, which Matt, you were also in. So we kind of had to stop watching at the same time. You were like bemoaning the fact that we had to do Good Fight that night.
Yeah, we stopped watching it and then talked about the Game Awards.
Yeah, like
comedy
at the show. Yeah. But it was super fun. I do think it was, like, for the most part, better pace. I think there are still issues, you know, like it really stood out to me that best multiplayer game and best RPG were just super quickly glossed over really quickly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they even said the nominees, or maybe it was one of those that, like, Jeff Keighley spewed off in like 15 seconds or whatever, right? And so stuff like that I really wish was still given the time of day. That feels a little disrespectful to me, especially for such a big award like that. But, you know, overall, I would say most of the problems that I've had have at least been, like, addressed a little bit. And I think the thing was paced better, and there was more. It was a breadth of different kinds of games that were shown here that I really enjoyed. So I think it was working for me for the most part.
I heard somebody say a step in the right direction, and I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe not exactly where we all want it to be, but like moving that way.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing live, including the pre-show, start to finish, with my fiance, who, like, she enjoys games, but she's not, like, terminally online like I am. And so there were several times where, like, I was like, hey, we don't have to watch this if you want to watch something else. She was like, no, like, I was into it. And at the end of the show, she was like, that was, like, really, literally said, that was really well paced. That was cool.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was definite improvements over years past, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree with those two, with all those statements so far. I'm a man of brevity. I like things to be quick and concise. And the show's getting tighter and tighter. I think it still suffers from an identity. What does it want to be? Does it want to reveal games, or is it a Game Awards? And it waffles between those two things to be the E3 of the wintertime, but also celebrating the industry and having it be inconsistent with what awards that it brings out presenters for, and what awards are just a list on the screen very quickly. Yeah. I think that inconsistency shows me that they're still trying to figure out the balance between an award show and a game announce show, and they're trying to do both, which I respect. But I think it still suffers from an identity crisis, a little bit.
That said, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I feel like they did that better this time, and maybe they did it better.
Yeah, I agree. They did do it better. Yeah.
There were better announcements. I mean, maybe it's because there was no E3 this year. And I don't know. Like, it felt like it felt like to me, even though a lot of the announcements aren't games that I'm super excited about, they are games that I know lots of people are and that I recognize as whoa, they've got a Diablo 4 trailer. They've got a,
Armored
Tekken
Core 6.
8, all these games that like, hey, I might not play them, but I know they're big games and that's what felt kind of, and then it was kind of infectious. Then you're like, well, this is getting a lot of cool announcements.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is a weird pairing still.
Well, do you all watch it for the awards portion?
I mean, that's what gets me excited, I think, beforehand. I mean, I'm always looking forward to whatever's going to be announced, and I think that's like a plus for me. But to me, I like I'm a big Oscars fan. I love to watch the Oscars every year because I love movies. And I just like seeing people dress up and fucking walk down a carpet and celebrate an industry, right? So like that's what I like about it. I mean, I do think the extra stuff is nice. I do think that they should have a dress code, by the way, at the Game Awards. But I've been saying that for a while. But so to me that's the pull. But I know that's not true for everybody, and I think a lot of people would be disappointed if it was just that.
I want to watch it for the awards, but right now I know that it is like a 90% game trailer like show, and so that's what I go in expecting and like setting my expectation for. That said, like I think it's a really interesting point you make about how it has this identity crisis. The thing that I really liked that I can't recall if they've done in years past, I think they have, but for the Game of the Year, like the Game of the Year award at the very end of the show, they took the time to have the #Game Awards orchestra to play a medley of all of the theme songs for each of the nominees.
Incredible.
And I feel like I think what's fun about the Game Awards is showing off the things about games that get us really excited, which is why I think it is nice having trailer announcements, because like I feel like game trailers has become such a part of like gaming culture. Like people get stoked. Like back in the day, it was like if you see a cinematic trailer, it's cool, and nowadays it's like cinematic trailers are neat, but please show me some gameplay and stuff.
Yeah,
either way, however you're cutting your trailer, whatever it is you want to focus on, I think that stuff gets people really excited, myself included. But if you were to take an approach for like having little like edited segments that highlight, whether it be like accessibility, like they do a little bit, right? Of like, hey, here are the accessibility features, like here's some clips of like The Last of Us 2 and stuff like that. But if you could make little pre-programmed packages that really highlights what is important about this specific nomination that it's up for, whether it be like the things that each multiplayer game did that was noteworthy that year and stuff. I feel like that's the stuff that I think would resonate with folks. At least it would with me. I don't know.
I think that the identity that they want, or that maybe they have, is celebration of video games, right? Like that would be maybe the flag that it all falls under, is like, we're trying to have a big celebration of video games, but maybe there is too much trailers or too much focus. I don't know. And then it doesn't, and then it feels imbalanced. I'm not really sure, but I don't know.
I mean, they don't show fucking trailers for all the big Hollywood movies that are coming out.
Oh no,
at the Oscars, you know what I mean? But also the Oscars have been dropping in viewership year after year after year, right? So,
and movies aren't.
I get they have to pay the
same,
bills, right? And people are paying Jeff Keighley to put their shit on their show. So
yeah, but they do show them at like Marvel Con or whatever, right?
Sure.
Like and so, but I don't know. We talk about this. I'm sure every year we do this. There are 3 or 4 points that we're still stuck on, but I think it's moving in the right direction.
I agree.
And I think that like the quality of announcements, even when I just feel like there wasn't very many where I was like, why is this here? Or that looks like a bad game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There were like a couple that were like, all right, you guys paid a lot of money to be here. But, you know what I mean? No, you wouldn't be here otherwise. But
yeah. And there's still kind of a big focus on AAA giant gritty stuff that might be a little over focused, and we're kind of jumping around, and that's fine. But I also want to say, David, you say it every year, and I'm stealing your thunder, but they still don't acknowledge speedrunners. I feel like speedrunning is the skateboarding of like, team sports or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and like, it's like, because it doesn't have the competitive edge in the same way. It's more about beating the game. And I wish there was more focus on, why isn't there's all these esports awards, but none surrounding.
In a couple of years, we're going to have the X Game Awards.
Yeah, the X Game Awards. Focused on best speedrunner.
And the mod community.
Yeah, it'll be like a lifetime achievement award to Razor Freestyle Scooter for the Dreamcast. Yeah.
Fucking play that demo. It was on my demo disc.
I owned that game. That's a good game.
While we're just kind of being critical, I just want somebody else to. Here's what I think: they need to have a host that isn't Jeff Keighley, somebody who's charismatic, and then Jeff Keighley should just have specific segments, right? Like he's got poise and he's a good host, but like I think somebody who can make some jokes about the game industry and like make it a little more interesting.
A comedian would be good to host, I think.
I tell you what I think it is. It needs to be somebody whose entire like reputation in business isn't on the line by how well this show goes tonight. Because anytime something kind of went off script, like you could kind of see it in his face. Like, yeah. I don't know. I feel like like I was trying to put my finger on it all night where I'm just like, I like you, Jeff Keighley, but like there's something here that feels off. And I think it's just like anytime he's talking, he's smiling, he's looking at the camera, he's saying the words, but there's a million cogs and things spinning in his head.
Yeah, because he's running the show.
Yeah,
he's like directing it and hosting it. It's
yeah,
like,
that's an insane amount of things to be tracking all at once. Give it to somebody who can be a little more relaxed and comfortable and also isn't a celebrity who says, I don't play games, but my grandson sure does. Stop bringing those people here.
I think I'm gonna allow Al Pacino because I think it's funny. But you are
Al Pacino didn't know where he was. Al Pacino thought he was at a Wendy's, and then somebody was telling him to read the prompter.
I did like he was like, it is hard to read the prompter.
It was hard to hear you read the prompter, Al. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh man.
Well, maybe we should talk about either the winners or the announcements. That's a big part of the show. What do y'all want to start with the winners? About some of how do we feel about these awards?
Sure, yeah, we could start with winners and then move into announcements.
I would say it's fair to say that the big overall winners would be Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok, right?
Yep.
They took home lots of awards.
Yeah, Elden Ring won Game of the Year, the Gotti Award, which I have still not really played Elden Ring.
Wow!
I mean, I'm not a big Souls guy, not a big like Soulsborne guy, right? So it's never really tickled my fancy that much. I mean, everybody in the world is like, "Well, this is the one you'll like," you know what I mean? And like, they're probably right. But, you know, like you said, there's a million games. But from everything I understand, when this game came out in February, everybody was like, Breath of the Wild is basically going to have to come out this year in order for this not to win Game of the Year, right?
Yeah.
So I think that wasn't like a huge surprise that took home Game of the Year, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, to speak of the quality of Elden Ring, I think it says something that, again, I felt terrible for the people who make the Horizon games.
Yeah.
That they release their
Guerrilla.
game and then, Guerrilla, and then immediately gets followed up by like, oh, hey, here's another game in the same genre that's just completely changing the game again. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oof, boy.
Yeah. They have
Elden Ring,
bad
good
timing.
game. Good game.
Yeah. I feel like since we're on it, we can't not talk about that weird kid that jumped up on stage at the end of the show after the Game of the Year award. Strange little lad of 15 who basically made some awkward comment about his Rabbi Bill Clinton that got everybody really confused, and they found him on an InfoWars show.
Let this be a learning moment for everybody, okay? If you just walk anywhere with the confidence like you belong, apparently you can do anything. Because that's exactly what this young man did. And another learning lesson for security.
Yeah, that's what
be
I was
a little
say.
better.
I don't think that
please.
tactic is going to work next year at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Because the kid was arrested like after it was done.
Yeah.
I think Jeff was like, nope, this is never going to fucking happen again. Because it could have been anybody. You know what I mean? It could have been.
Oh yeah, it could have been very bad.
Yeah.
No, I definitely did when Jeff Keighley tweeted that the intruder had been arrested. I certainly did imagine a Taken-esque scene with this kid tied to a chair and Jeff Keighley coming in, taking off his jacket and like cracking his knuckles,
smiling the whole
He's
time.
He's like, you thought this was your game? This is my Game Awards 2022.
He puts on, well, I don't know what I'm feeling tonight.
He goes,
He goes,
I'm not good. You're not stuck in here with me. You're stuck in here with Animal. Bring him back, Jim. Biggest surprise of the night.
Man.
Biggest surprise of the night for me was no winner. It was Jeff Keighley talking about how excited he was that Animal from the Muppets was going to be there to present, and then that actually being one of the best presenters of the entire night.
It was really good and really funny.
Yeah, never doubt the Muppets. Third lesson learned at the Game Awards this year.
I love how Animal was like, we should make a game about Animal called Animal Crossing.
He was great. He was just setting him up and knocking him down. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think since we're a Nintendo podcast, we kind of hit the big winners for the like a lot of categories, but several Nintendo games actually won some awards this year, which I think is interesting. There's the best family game category, which we always say jokingly is the Nintendo category.
Yeah.
But that was Kirby and the Forgotten Land. But
Hell yeah.
Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope won the best sim strategy game, and Splatoon 3 won the best multiplayer game.
I was surprised.
Bayonetta won as well. Sorry.
Yeah. I was surprised to see Splatoon 3 win the multiplayer award. I don't think that it's not deserved. I think it's very fucking deserved, and I'm really, really glad it won. But it's like, again, Splatoon 3 just does not seem like the game for this crowd, right? And for the people who like vote on this stuff, right? So I was really, really happy to see that happen. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I show my ignorance again? Who does vote for the Game Awards? Is it because it's not like an academy, right? Is it kind of like a popularity contest?
It's basically a collection. It's weighted, right? So I think if I'm not mistaken, I think about 70% of the weight comes from critics. So it's like a gaming critics association, basically. And it's like all, but it's all the way through to like Bloomberg and Wall Street Journal and rags like that, down to like the actual gaming rags, right? And so it's like they all kind of come together and do votes. And then I think it's about 30% is popular vote. So it's like also on the website you can go in and vote as well. So I'm probably wrong with the ratios there. I don't know.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's 90% the jury and 10%
90
the public.
90 and 10. Well, that really that's not much of a player's choice, but yeah. But yeah, but still, I was surprised at that, but I'm really glad that won. Well, you said the other one, Kirby won best family game. I think that was a good pick, right?
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a great co-op game. It's got some legitimate challenge in there towards the end. That game was just so delightful.
Yeah, and I kind of just got a little bit. I didn't finish, but Bayonetta 3 won a category, best action. I think it was well.
Best action.
So that's unusual to me that Nintendo four Nintendo exclusives winning categories. At least in the last several years, it's really only been the best family game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Nintendo had a good year. I think they had a lot of ground covered this year. It wasn't just kind of one lane, right? Where before it often is just like kind of that best family game category.
I didn't think Xenoblade Chronicles was going to win Game of the Year, but I was surprised it didn't get best score and soundtrack. Best score.
I was going to say we should talk Nintendo snubs. I think that was the biggest Nintendo snub of the night, right? Now, okay, and also no offense to my boy Bear. All right, Bear McCreary, great guy. He does the score for a show that I work on, Masters of the Universe. I'm not trying to shit on Bear McCreary. I think he's an excellent composer, but man, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, that soundtrack was like otherworldly, man. I was very disappointed in that as well. What won best RPG?
Best RPG went to Elden Ring. Live Alive, Pokemon Legends, Arceus or Arceus, Triangle Strategy, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
It was all Nintendo games except for Elden Ring.
And God of War, yeah. They won everything else. Yeah. That's not true, but like it feels that way. Stray won a couple of the indie categories.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, Stray was a great game. I didn't play all the other indie games that are on this list. I know some of y'all have played a few of them. So I don't know if you feel like that was fair.
I feel like Vampire Survivors should have been nominated for more things. I am glad that it at least showed up in best, was it new coming indie? I definitely think it also deserved to be in best indie game, but whatever.
Yeah, it was weird that best debut indie game got a whole thing where they
it's like
showed
3 or
all
4
of it.
of the same game.
Yeah, but then best indie game was just like passed by. like in one of those quick sections. It was very strange. I was really hoping Neon White would get a little bit more love than it did. I really loved that game.
It's fantastic. You and I were battling for time trials when that game first came out. I was glad to see it nominated for so many things because that one really is. That's a real fun one, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there any other awards specific y'all want to talk about? I mean,
yeah, I mean, we talked about best performance going to Christopher Judge, who at the top of the show did like a 10-minute acceptance speech, which really did throw off the rest of. You could tell. I feel like a couple of those categories, maybe even like Jeff was like, "Fuck, I got to make up 10 minutes somewhere." You know what I mean? Because people are always getting on him about how long it is. I do think that like. That's a very, very long time to do an acceptance speech. It was right at the beginning of the night. I think like it's fine. It's like the music came on like minute 7.
Yeah.
It was
why did they wait so long?
Yeah. Like even the Oscars will play off best director after like a minute, so it's like they got to tighten that up a little bit.
Hilariously, he didn't stop when the music started either. And he just sounded, it was like a moment from a movie.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, this is meant to empower me." Yeah, exactly.
That was an odd opening.
My voice will swell with the music.
On the bright side, it gave everybody on the internet something to talk about immediately from the start of the show.
Yeah, that's funny. Marvel Snap won best mobile game. Miles,
yes.
I know you're a big time Marvel Snap player. You still playing?
I had to take it off of my home screen because I was playing it too much, and I have since calmed down a lot. I made it to gold rank in the Wakanda season, but I'm purposefully I was playing it too much. I'd never spent any money on it, but time, some would say, is more valuable than money. So I've stepped away, but I'll come back every now and then.
Miles, I would like to introduce you to a Canadian law firm called Alex Legal. Maybe you could sue them.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're a lawyer. I'll just hire you.
We're all lawyers.
Yeah,
we've established this.
You hire me, you hire us all.
Goodman.
The best adaptation category, which was new this year, right?
That's a new award.
They didn't have that. And it feels like a good time to add that award because there's so many film and TV.
Oh, and it's going to be even more next year, right? That's
Arcane won that one,
which is pretty fucking well deserved. I think Arcane was an excellent show.
Amazing,
yeah. I was pulling for Cyberpunk Edge Runners myself. I really, really enjoyed that show, and I know a ton of love and heart went into that.
So
and it wasn't just like consistently bankrolled by a horrible company, which is Riot Games, right? So it's like, so as much as I enjoyed Arcane, I was like, there's no. Maybe just because I'm in the animation industry, everybody is like, "Oh, just make your show like Arcane." It's like, okay, well, if you give us 10 years to make it and unlimited money, sure.
As someone who worked 10 years in the animation industry, that was a lot. I got a lot of questions from friends of like, "Oh man, why can't did y'all ever consider doing something like that?" I'm like, I can't right now. I just
you just don't understand how budgets work. I'm very interested to see what the categories are going to look like next year for this, because we've got the Mario movie next year.
Maybe there'll be
categories, the
animated or something too. Because
no, I mean, I think it'll be
live action.
There's going to be Sonic Prime, a Super Mario Brothers movie. Trying to think of other
the
Dungeons and Dragons movie,
Last of Us
for
HBO.
Yeah.
Castlevania Nocturne, maybe, if it comes out next year. If I could throw my own hat in the ring on that one. There's a lot, right? There's it's what I'm trying to say is, it's like the gold rush for video game adaptations is now officially on, right? Definitely a good time to bring this category in. I think that'll be a very talked about one next year. We do need to talk about one Nintendo award that was won, even though it's kind of the most pointless award of the entire show, which is a most anticipated game.
That's right. I forgot that one. When we were listing the Nintendo wins, there's a Nintendo win, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Still getting used to that.
That's right. I did call it Breath of the Wild earlier in the show. Obviously I think that's the game that everybody's really looking forward to. So that makes sense, but man, they could get rid of that category.
Yeah. You looking to save 10 minutes, Jeff? There you go.
Yeah. It was weird he took 10 minutes on that award.
I just really want to play it.
To me, that makes sense as an award for the public to vote on, and you quickly say it. right?
Yeah.
Like that would be
Which
a
I
fun
think
way
is
to
pretty
do it.
much what it was. I mean, it was in that like list of
Gotcha.
awards he fired off, but still, just you can cut that one out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pre-show.
Is there anything else before we move on to maybe announcements? And because there were a ton of announcements, we got to go over that too.
Yeah, I think just what I'll say about this is, again, I think a lot of people do watch it for these awards, right? And I think that people like to back the game that they love, and they, and the people put in bets, and their fucking voting pools and shit on who's going to win what. And so I think like I do hope that a lot of the stuff isn't as minimized next year. And like you were saying, I loved the stuff from the orchestra. Anytime they were playing anything, it was really, really great. Any of the stuff that makes it really feel like a prestige event.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that I really enjoy about this. And so, yeah, even though, it's always like a couple games that take most of the awards. It's kind of how it is anytime, right? It's,
Sure.
there's just a couple things that come out that are like clearly the best things that year, right? So I always enjoy watching this, and I like seeing how appreciative people are to win these things.
Yeah. And then I think, there were a lot of announcements, and I think maybe too many, but a lot of big ones. I don't even know what y'all want to start with. So many big ones, right?
Should we start with like Nintendo announcements first?
Sure, we can start with Nintendo. That's a good call because
Oh yeah.
You got one first?
It's
Miles?
a Nintendo one, and it's like I didn't know that I would ever be excited for this game because I never would have thought this game existed. Who else's jaw hit the floor when Bayonetta Origins hit the screen?
Me too.
That was wild.
It looks gorgeous.
It does. It looked like
I'm not interested in a traditional Bayonetta game very much,
Same.
but this looks cool.
the fact, like, I have zero interest of Bayonetta's origin. I personally, I'm not a big character action game guy. The bits of Bayonetta that I have played, I'm just like, okay, it's a lot of like, it's very stylish, cool. The thing that I think really caught me the most off guard is like, it looks like it's being played 100% sincere. Whereas like all the other Bayonetta games seem to have like a bit of
very tongue in cheek.
Very tongue in cheek, constantly winking at the camera. But this was like, look at this heartfelt story about a young witch girl and her lost demon pet. And man, it just like visually, again, the art style is wild. And I'm like, I love shooters. I love a bunch of like very popular, like massively consumed genres and stuff like that. I'll show up every year for like a new whatever. This thing is just like, it was just such a surprise, I think, and something I wasn't expecting at all. And I feel like that is harder and harder to come by in like big award show trailer stuff like that.
Then also Fire Emblem, Engage had a trailer, and they showed off the DLC or some of the DLC.
Yeah, the Three Houses emblem. It's like all three of them you can summon all three at once, which is kind of cool.
And
but that's only in paid DLC, right?
I believe so. And that's what comes out instantly if you buy the DLC. And then they kind of hint that there's, just like they like to do in Fire Emblem and Xenoblade, waves of stuff coming in the future. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those are the two like, sort of first party Nintendo announcements that we got.
I mean, other than the Mario movie, I guess.
The Mario movie, which we kind of already covered a little bit. And then there's games that will probably be on a Nintendo system we could talk about, or we could just kind of go into big stuff.
Before we move on from the Fire Emblem thing and the Bayonetta thing, but I think I heard a lot of people being like, man, they're already fucking talking about DLC and the game isn't even out yet for Fire Emblem, right? And in a way, I kind of agree with it. And it definitely like caught me a little bit off guard, but I'm also not too worried about it. I think that like Intelligent Systems or whoever's making this game like has proven that they put a lot of work into these expansions and they're like sizable, and the games are never light on content when they release, right? So
the DLC
I'm not too worried about that. I don't think it was like super cheap of them to do this, and I think it was a good thing. But man, also at the end of the day, I'm done seeing stuff about this game, man. They've shown us like so many trailers for this thing and like so much about it. Like, let's just get it out there. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that.
So lots of big announcements here. I mean, Hades 2 is a lot of people are super pumped about that. That's one of the sort of there were a number of announcements for like release dates and new trailers and stuff for games that we already maybe knew about, like say Final Fantasy 16 or something. But there were some just blatant, brand new things announced, including Hades 2, Death Stranding 2? Was that already been announced or no?
It's
like
called DS2. We kind of knew it
DS2.
was coming. Yeah, it's not called Death Stranding 2. It's called DS2.
He never said Death Stranding 2. It was only DS2.
It's like X2, X-Men United.
Gotcha. Sorry.
No, but Hades 2 was a total surprise. Yeah, that was, I don't think anybody saw that coming. It's great to see. Also, shout out a lot of coworkers and ex-coworkers worked on the trailer for that game, and it looked gorgeous. Nice. So I'm very excited for that. I think people are super pumped about it. It's going to be in early access when it comes out sometime next year. And it looks like it's a whole brand new set of characters, which is excellent.
Has Supergiant done a sequel before?
No,
I don't believe so. No.
Wow.
This is their first sequel. Yeah,
that's their whole thing. They don't make sequels. There was
I guess if the game's big enough, they do.
Yeah,
and the 80s was big. It was big.
Yeah, in one of the interviews, they were talking about that, and they said, why Hades? And they found a new challenge, whether that be actual marketing speak, or they're in it to make more money.
I think it's
a little bit of both.
Or money. Make a great sequel to a great game. Maybe make a great game better.
Well, it does. I am impressed that it's not just Zagreus again. And it's not just that. Like they could have easily just been like, this game was great. People will buy a second one if we just don't even change it. Like all the characters seem new. It all seems really fresh. I was really impressed with what I saw.
I genuinely, when the trailer was hitting, I was like, oh, it's going to be an expansion. It's going to be some sort of like, so the fact that it's got like the 2 with the Roman numerals there, like, it's interesting. I hadn't heard that like they found a new challenge thing, which you're right. I think could absolutely be marketing speak. But the fact that like it seems to be all about taking out Kronos, like I'm wondering if there's a timed element that's now a part of this. Like, I don't know. The fact that it is a definitive sequel makes me think that, they're throwing something new into the pot that's going to really add a new twist to that whole experience.
Yep. DS2 was great to see a trailer for that. Especially after this year of me like just throwing myself into Hideo Kojima's games. Like it's really nice to just like, I still haven't played Death Stranding. That's still on my list. But like this trailer was just that weird, wacky, like auteur style. It was so great to see. It was funny how he talked about how he rewrote this entire game from scratch during the pandemic because he was like, I'm tired of predicting the future or whatever, which I thought was pretty funny. And so I'm interested to see kind of how this turns out for sure.
I can't believe how excited I am for that game. The first time I played Death Stranding, bounced off it hard. I was like, this is so pretentious and dumb, and I don't know. Yeah. And then I played it on a stream for a week while also walking on a treadmill, and it became the most immersive gaming experience of my life. And I am so excited for this sequel. Oh,
you're gonna do that for the sequel?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what my schedule's like when it comes out.
You have to ride a unicycle.
Unicycle on a treadmill with a baby in a backpack.
Yeah.
Man, it's I'm stoked. I'm so stoked for Dead Stranding. Sorry, DS2.
DS2, that's right. There were some other cool ones. I mean,
lots of stuff.
Dead Cells with Castlevania characters being added in looked pretty cool. I can't believe that game is still getting expansions. Think there'd be a Dead Cells 2 by this point.
You mentioned Armored Core. There's the game Judas, which was kind of a big one.
Armored Core is a big one. Like From Software, but they didn't used to just make Souls-likes, right? Like that's like a genre they kind of created, obviously. But Armored Core was like what they were known for a really long time. So it's really great to see them coming back to that franchise. Judas looks incredible, right? I mean, it just looks like BioShock.
Yeah. Sick tagline. Fix what you broke. Like I felt that. Yeah. I was like, ooh, that's got some spice on it. Okay.
Yeah. But I was really fascinated by that trailer, even if it was another one of those like cinematics only.
Yeah, a little vague of what's going on.
I love the look though.
Yeah, new Star Wars. Sorry,
I'm
Matthew,
so excited for Judas. When's the last time Ken Levine has made a game since Infinite?
BioShock Infinite. Yeah, that was his last game. Yeah.
So What, he quit 2K to make this game over at
Yep.
Ghost Games, Ghost something games,
Ghost Story.
Ghost Story. Thank you. Ghost. Yeah, he quit 2K to make Ghost Story games. Start Ghost Story games to make this game. It looks fucking tight. I can't wait.
I mean, it's got the put something in your hand and then you have fire and
The whole
like
plasmids
the whole
mechanic.
yeah, the graphic style looked like Infinite. You know what I mean? Like it was like, and so I'm okay with that, man. I think it's good. I think he knows what works, and I think like I could have played way more BioShock games with Ken Levine at the helm, right? I know they're making a BioShock 4, but it's going to be without him.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I think that's great. I'm totally down for more of that kind of gameplay.
There were some snippets of that like 20th century Americana sort of like marketing and like propaganda and stuff in the background of some shots. Yeah.
Yeah, that game looks great.
I'm losing my mind over Earthblade. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Yes.
Kidding me? What looks like a Metroidvania from the Celeste
look like a
team?
Metroidvania.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or they said it's
freak my bean.
going to be non-linear.
Exploro
right? Whatever that
action,
means.
yeah. Like so, it sounds like they're trying to not say Metroidvania, but it feels like it probably will be, but maybe
Yeah.
a little. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't blame them for not saying Metroid.
Embrace
It's a
Everyone
terrible name
makes
for
a
a genre.
Metroidvania.
It's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
awful name for a genre.
Yeah,
and nobody wants to claim it. Yeah.
No, I watched a stream with Extremely Okay Games today where they were kind of answering some questions about it, and it got me really excited. I loved Celeste so much. Loved Towerfall. That's also an amazing game, and so anything they make, I'm going to be there day one.
Yeah, like the new Star Wars game had a trailer, and if we're talking about the pacing of the show, I was a little worried watching when the actor comes out, and you're like, oh no, are we gonna be talking about this game forever? But that was a nice brief thing, so like that, I feel like that's where the show, like maybe they didn't need it.
He kissed his lightsaber on stage. Did you guys see that?
I don't know if I caught that detail.
He gave it a little peck.
Is that legal?
I don't think not in California.
Are you guys lawyers?
But that game looks cool. I don't know. They showed lots of games, right? Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Suicide Squad, tons of like big games.
That was really
Suicide
sad.
Squad trailer was amazing.
Yeah.
It was sad when I realized like, oh my gosh, this was Kevin Conroy's last performance as the Batman. But like removing that from it too, like starting off with the Arkham Asylum theme, like, and then like realizing like, oh, this is gonna be a boss character in this game. Like that, I don't know why I'd never thought about that was absolutely going to be a thing that Rocksteady should lean into, and it seems like they're leaning into it hard. And like Suicide Squad was like, I don't have any strong, I had no strong opinions on it until this trailer, and now I'm very interested.
Yeah. I mean, again, it was another cinematic. I would have loved to have seen some gameplay from this, especially because it is Rocksteady and they have such that pedigree of working in this universe, right? And especially after what a disappointment Gotham Knights was, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like I think it's good to see this, and it's nice that Kevin Conroy is back as Batman for one last thing. I find it interesting. Horizon Forbidden West got its DLC announced, and that game is going to be PS5 exclusive, even though Horizon Forbidden West did release on PS4.
I did not catch that.
Yeah, so the DLC apparently it's going to have a lot of like flying in it, right? She's on like a pterodactyl or whatever in it. So maybe they need that SSD to like load in all the assets fast enough for you to just be able to fly over everything. And that's just not possible on PS4. But I can't think of another game where the DLC was locked to a different console. You know what I mean? So I found
maybe
that
the
to be pretty
Cyberpunk
interesting.
DLC will also be locked.
Oh yeah, Idris Elba in the Cyberpunk DLC. I'm very excited for that.
That's cool.
I'll definitely be grabbing that whenever that releases.
None of us here may be huge like CRPG fans, but Baldur's Gate 3 getting an actual announcement date. That game's been stuck in like what beta or early access or whatever it's called,
Development hell.
for years. And like I don't know, just getting a date for Final Fantasy 16 and showing off Diablo 4 just felt like this is a bunch of big announcements. Whereas I feel like last year and the year before, or the last couple of years, there's been a handful of really big announcements, and then a few. There were some other ones we're glossing over that weren't maybe for me too, like the Warhammer. I don't know, a lot of people love those games, so like It's just, I think they did a good job of having a lot of different things.
Yeah, I agree.
It felt like they had PlayStation on board really big. Microsoft
did not
stuff.
have a huge presence at this show. It was like, this is a Sony focused show, I think, for the most part.
That's why I didn't get a huge feeling from that. I guess it's just because at this point with Game Pass, so many of these other games that got announced, like in my mind, I'm like, that'll probably be on Game Pass. That'll probably be on Game Pass. That'll probably be on Game Pass.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need to put the big Xbox logo in front of everything. But yeah, there was a big like first party Sony presence.
And
what was it, like Returnal and
PC.
and Last of Us Part 1 both going to PC was announced, which is great as a Steam Deck owner.
I was actually like
own a PS5.
I kind of want to play those on Steam Deck. But the other thing I wanted to mention too was talking about the Forspoken. They showed a trailer for Forspoken, and I guess there's gonna be a demo and that kind of stuff.
It's out, the demo. Yeah.
I feel like the trailer was really well done. Like, I think we had this conversation a couple months ago when they had a trailer that got mocked heavily online.
Oh, this is that one. This is the...
And we were talking, and Matthew, I think it's you that said it. We're like, it feels like maybe they just aren't targeting the right audience. And this trailer felt like they took that note.
Well, I got bad news for you, Patrick, because I talked to some people who have played the demo.
A bad demo.
And I think that they made this trailer as a direct response to the previous trailers.
Yeah.
And everybody being like,
too.
she's so annoying. She's constantly talking. It's too like silly. And then this was like way more serious and it looked like way more like prestigious. But then apparently in the demo, it's just like super bright and she's just like constantly talking. Everybody's like, this game's super annoying.
Well, maybe it just sounds like maybe they don't know what they want. Maybe there was a target audience problem with this game.
Yeah, we'll see. And that's only like one person's opinion that I read.
Gotcha.
But it's I don't know. I'm not holding out hope for Forspoken.
Hey man, I'm holding out hope for Replaced and Remnant 2. Holy cow. Everything
Replaced looks incredible.
Oh my God. Just the aesthetic of that game. I could stare at it until my eyes bled. It is beautiful. And then, did any of you guys play Remnant from the Ashes when that thing dropped?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I feel like so many games are either in like the AAA space or they're an indie darling. And then there's apparently what did they say? Indie AAA for
double A or something.
It was I don't know. Words mean nothing apparently anymore. But Remnant from the Ashes gave me the vibe of like a really good like PS2 Xbox 360 game where it's like, it's not the prettiest thing ever, but it's 100% getting the job done. And it's just like, hey, what if you had Dark Souls style stuff, but with guns and up to 2 other friends? That game is a blast. It was like $30 or something. I'm so stoked for Remnant 2.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much. Like, we're gonna miss some of these, right?
Yeah,
like
that their game After Us looked cool to me.
I was just gonna bring up After Us. That looks beautiful. Yeah. Really into that.
They had me with giant dachshund spirit. As soon as the spirit of a giant wiener dog appeared on screen, I was like, yeah, man, say no more. I'll be there.
There was like a fucking Transformers trailer that nobody realized was a Transformers trailer until like the last 3 seconds.
Very interesting. First person, perhaps, too. Very interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, it was clearly okay. The last one I'll talk about here is Crime Boss Rocky City. Because this is one of those where they were like, all right, we're gonna bring out an actor. It was Michael Madsen, right? Who came out with like a couple other people from it. And
he would be with Jeff Keighley interrogating that.
yeah. Well, he's the one who's like, I don't know.
Exactly. That's what I was
Very funny. But this is like a game where I have no idea what this game is other than it looks like a Grand Theft Auto ripoff and it's just a bunch of big name actors. And I felt like there was a lot of that this year. You know what I mean? I think there was a lot of like, big banking on like Hollywood talent, like in games to like sell it other than gameplay or story or something like that. So this is one where I'm like, I have no idea what it is other than who's in it. And it's just odd.
Yeah. You never want something to be bad, but this thing had so many of those marketing red flags on it. Like if your debut trailer is making oh, look, we have Chuck Norris joke. It's like, man, that kind of stopped being funny in 2008. Like, I don't know what you're going after here from a vibe. I looked into a little more about it because it was just such an oddity of the night that I had to know more about it. And I saw the words tossed around, roguelike first person cooperative shooter. And I'm just,
it's a roguelike?
I read roguelike elements. There was some stuff for one of the like co-op heist missions or something.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That is interesting.
Yeah, that was an odd one. That and the man, I got so excited when like late 90s, early 2000s live action Crash Bandicoot mascot showed up, and then he was there on stage for more than 3 seconds, and then I was ready for him to leave.
Yeah,
But Crash Team Rumble, like, interesting,
it's a MOBA, right?
I guess so.
Like a small scale one though. It's
Yeah,
only like
yeah.
They're trying to figure out what to do with that IP, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Super
So
odd.
they're trying something interesting. A few more shout outs. Wild Hearts kind of looks like maybe a more approachable Monster Hunter. That seemed neat. It's set in like a fantasy feudal Japan 3-player cooperative monster hunting game. Was cool. Talked about Afterthoughts. I don't know if it's gonna be good, but can I just say the vibe of every Atomic Hearts trailer has been so sick.
Yeah,
Like, the art direction in that game looks really interesting. All the like animations for a lot of the enemies that they've shown off are like really like they move like non-human entities move in very non-human ways that are like very fluid and kind of like upsetting. And I just think that's, again, the vibes are strong. And Behemoth kind of looks like a first-person Shadow of the Colossus thing. I was curious to see more about that. Again, just kind of a cinematic trailer, but you know, you see some traps, you see some like human-sized enemies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh, and you know what? Fuck it. Among Us hide and seek looks fun. I like them taking the Among Us formula and being like, all right, let's just flip it. That was a fun trailer.
Yeah, it's nice that they're doing something completely different with it, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess the opposite.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. I think that's
cool.
I did appreciate that they just I thought it was gonna be like Among Us 2, but they're like, fuck it, hide and seek.
yeah.
Like
yeah,
just
yeah.
don't bury the lead, you just say exactly what it is.
Yeah. I agree.
And I think the target, I mean, maybe the target audience there isn't the Game Awards, but definitely it's somebody who's at my house. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, we have played a lot of hide and seek in every video game.
Right.
Like, you know, when we're waiting for a Splatoon match, he's like, come find me, you know, like, like, I'm like, well, I can see your name. But
There's
anyway,
some Twitch streamers do Mario Odyssey mods. There's like multiplayer mods where they play hide and seek, and that seems like a super fun.
Oh, that does seem cool.
I really want to install that and figure out how.
Yeah,
how to
I
do
played hide and seek mods on like Call of Duty. They have prop hunt,
that.
which is basically the same thing in almost all first person shooters. You know, Call of Duty and Halo.
well, anyway, we should wrap this up. We talked about the awards, we talked about the announcements, we talked about sort of our impressions and our criticisms of the show. How do we wrap this up? Is there anything that you wanted to say about the Game Awards 2022? Anything we really want them to do differently that we haven't already mentioned, or anything you thought they did well?
I mean, I think we did I think we kind of covered a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
I'm still happy the Game Awards exists, you know, even if it's got warts and even if it's got issues and even if some people clearly just like line Jeff Keighley's pockets to be there. Like, I think at the end of the day, it's nice that we have something like this. You know, it's every year it's grown more like, I don't want to say prestigious, but it's like, you know, it's more like accepted as a real thing and not just a big marketing stunt, even if it is still a lot of that. You know, I think that it means something to be like, we won a Game Award this year. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I think that's important, right? And I think it's just good we have something like it.
Nice. Agreed. Well, I think we can call it there then. Awesome. That does it for the Game Awards. If we glossed over your favorite announcement or award, or you have any comments about any of that show, please do send us a note and we'll shout you out next time. And then we'll take another short break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the games we've been playing recently. I don't think there's a video game that I have played recently that we didn't talk about already. I've been playing Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, Among Us, because my kid got into Among Us recently, which is hilarious to play with kids. It is not fun. They just disconnect.
I kind of think that game's not fun, period.
Well, I'm not a huge fan, but my son will we'll play it in the other room, and then like every other match, the person that's the imposter just disconnects a minute in, and it's like victory, and you're like, what? This isn't fun because I'm playing with the gated like kids accounts. Anyway, and I've been playing some Smash with some people, so I don't have anything like new or exciting to talk about here. It's a lot of the same big Nintendo favorite games. Hey,
that's okay, Patrick. We're running long. We appreciate that. You're Jeff Keighley blasting through categories right now. Yeah. What about you, Matt?
I've been. Did I say I wrote credits on Lively Life?
I don't think so. I think you did in the Discord.
Okay. Yeah. It's been a couple weeks till we were off last week. Yeah, rolled credits on Lively Life. Man, great fucking game. Really excited to talk about it in JRPG Club. Come join our Discord.
How long did it take you?
I think I have actually wrote it down. I think 23 hours.
Okay, it's not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Pretty quick.
I'm about to give up trying to be a pacifist on the Edo thing. By the way, I can't backtrack for coins. It's taking me too long.
I don't know. Why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't need to do it. No way. Sorry, continue.
And also, Halo Infinite came out with a late middle winter update, which added a custom game browser. So now you can join custom games with a big Forge release that came out last month in November. So I've just been playing lots of custom games, which are really fun on Halo Infinite. They have a Smash game mode where you try to push people off with one of the equipment and you try to grapple back onto the level. It's so fun. So silly. It's so fun to play.
God, I wish that stuff had been there at launch. Oh my gosh.
Me too.
Glad it's there now, though. Glad it's there now.
Yeah. This has been the longest launch window for a game of all time. I feel like all of this has been like a years long launch cycle.
They have some great custom levels right now for Halo Infinite. I've played Slayer on Waffle House map.
I saw that. That looks cool.
And then also Whataburger.
So the Forge is pretty like robust in this game.
Yes, it's incredible. I'm excited for what the next 6 months will bring.
Yeah. Is it out? Like, can anyone do Forge, or is it in beta? Okay.
Yep. It's in beta, but everyone can do it.
Okay. Yep. It's like a public beta. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Great.
As someone who used to make Red versus Blue, I'm so glad that this Forge wasn't around when I made that show, because the quality that the internet would be able to put together would make mine look like shit. Holy cow.
Yeah. It probably did up the production time a lot. Yeah, you have to actually make backgrounds.
Oh,
right?
golly.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, I'll go next. Yeah, I've been playing like a ton of games, so I'm going to go through these pretty quick. Tetris the Grandmaster is an arcade version of Tetris that is notoriously difficult. That came out in the Arcade Archives collection that's on the Switch. I've always wanted to have a home version of that, because anytime I go to the arcade and try to play it, I just like lose really, really quickly and lose all my money. So now I actually like have a version of the game that I can like practice at home, because I know they have one at Arcade UFO. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Speaking of arcade games, another game came out that I've really been totally obsessed with, called Donut Dodo. Have you guys heard of this game?
No.
It's by a little developer called Pixel Games. Super original name there. But Donut Dodo is like, it feels like a retro arcade game, but it's new. It's like a modern game, but it's kind of this combination of like the original Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, Burger Time.
I was gonna say, it looks like Burger Time.
Yeah, it's got a Burger Time aesthetic, but it's like there's a giant dodo on top of the screen that's kind of like Donkey Kong throwing barrels down at you, and then the screen wraps like Pac-Man, and you have to like avoid stuff, and kind of like Pac-Man, you have to pick up all the big pellets before you can. But they're like little flashy donuts that you have to grab. And oh man, this game is like super addictive, and it's a really, really fast loop. And the controls aren't complete dog shit like most old arcade games are. You know what I mean? It's like we just didn't have years and years of game development under our belt. So I really recommend this. It's currently $4 in the eShop. It's a total steal, and it's a blast. I've really been enjoying that. Been playing a little bit of Live Alive as well. I'm going to be streaming that this upcoming Wednesday, the day this episode comes out. Try to get as much of that game done as I can by the time we do our JRPG club. Couple other quick shout outs. I want to shout out Super Kiwi 64. by Siatro Games. Marcus, who I've actually been in contact with on Twitter recently, so maybe we'll be seeing him on the show at some point soon. But he's a great developer who does a lot of like low poly. He does the Tori games, Tori 3D and Tori 2, which are both on the Switch. Super Kiwi 64 is out now. It's a collectathon, very much in the style of Banjo-Kazooie. Don't go in expecting like a full Banjo-Kazooie game. Like, this is a game that you can beat in probably about an hour, you know, if you just like slam it. But again, it's also like $3, right? It's like $3 on the Switch, and it's a perfect little sit down bite-sized thing. And also, Marcus, if you're listening, thank you for the key. He gave me one. That was very nice of him. Another quick shout out for Mission in Snowdrift Land. This game, I've talked about it before, Mission in Snowdrift Land. It was originally on Nintendo's website as a Flash game that was not made by Nintendo. It was made by some other person, but it's kind of a playable advent calendar in a way. So what it was is every day for 25 days, you know, back in, I don't know, 2005 or something, whenever this happened, they would put out a new level of this game, and the developers eventually put this up on Steam. So that's a fun, like, little holiday game. There aren't a ton of Christmas games out there, so I've been really enjoying playing that. It's kind of fucking hard too, especially to get all the collectibles. And then lastly, I promise I'm almost done. I want to I gotta say, I finished Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance on stream the other day, and this concludes my year of Metal Gear that I've been doing all year long on Twitch. First of all, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is fucking sick.
Hell yeah.
I love that game so much.
I was watching your stream. I was lurking on your stream while I was trying to memorize lines. Watching you react to the final cinematic was amazing. Yeah. I definitely did a lot of wide-eyed YouTuber face while I was playing that game. But it was yeah, man, that was such a fucking blast. Really incredible stuff. Nothing like the other Metal Gear Solid games, but that's kind of what I love about it. But it still had the like pompousness of like the other games, you know what I mean? And like they're trying to be like super like smart, but they're really just kind of sounding pretentious. Like it's a great game. I really enjoyed it, and I love that whole series. I'm really glad I played through the Metal Gear Solid series this year. I will, a little bit of a hint, we might be talking about that in a future episode. So that's all I'll say here. But for everybody who's tuned in for that series, I really, really appreciate that and all the support over this past year. But that's about what I've been playing. What about you, Miles? What have you been playing recently?
I'll keep it quick. I played the demo for Luto, Luto. It is a first-person horror game on Steam right now that is very reminiscent of PT. Visually, like really high-fidelity stuff. Very uncomfortable because you're in a like modern home setting, which I always find to be the scariest place you can set any horror story. What's cool about this is the thing that is antagonizing you as the player is a sheet ghost, which the first time you see it is kind of funny, and then it comes for you, and then it no longer is funny. They do some really, really clever things. Pretty sure the whole thing's a metaphor for depression, but it has a free playable demo right now. Really, really cool. If you're into horror experiences, it's fun. It's pretty linear. You're kind of looking for like a few sort of loose puzzly things, but I would honestly treat it more as like a mildly interactive haunted house experience. And that was really, really cool. I think I'm about to wrap credits on Fire Emblem Awakening for the first time.
Cool.
So that's really cool. I really, really enjoyed that.
That's a great game.
Fantastic game. I just started Tunic. I'm about 3 hours in. It's just as delightful as everybody told me it was going to be. I'm excited to play more of it. And then you know what? I just have to say it. Look, if you've ever enjoyed any 3D Sonic game, even a little bit, if Sonic Frontiers goes on sale, pick it up. Pick it up. It is absolutely worth your time. If you like, Sonic Generations is, I think, the closest 3D Sonic games got to being like good. I know there's a lot of love for Sonic Colors too, which I think is pretty good. But I was always a Genesis guy. Like my favorite Sonic game is probably Sonic 3 and Knuckles, followed closely by like Sonic Mania. But yeah, I mean, it's rough, y'all. Like it's rough. It's a 3D Sonic game made in the year of our Lord 2022.
Sure.
But like, no, man, there's really, really cool moments of like, oh man, if they can just hone in on like the feeling you get when you are like sprinting around, and like the thing that I can't believe I'm praising, the combat in this game's fun. Like you're doing combos and pulling off things, and like they make sure to make a wide variety of enemy types that even though they're not the most interesting thing to look at, it has that trend nowadays of like, oh, it's like kind of Nano Machines robot, but they're all just kind of polygons. And I hate that aesthetically, but from a combat perspective, it is fun going like, okay, I need to take out these guys who are weak to this attack, and that one's coming at me, and I need to do this thing where I run a circle around them like Sonic did in the cartoons and like throw them up in the air with my tornado of speed. Like, it's cool. There's like good like kernels of ideas here and moments where you're just kind of running free, and it feels good to just like, you can fling yourself off a cliff and then do a bunch of flips in the air to like build up your special meter and then land it and then go grind on something. It's like, that's cool. I hope they continue to experiment with this thing because I think it's got legs.
I think that's their plan. I'm encouraged by that. Like the creator of the game was like, oh no, for the next game we're doing this again. Nice. And so I was like, great. Because every time they come out with a new Sonic game, they have to like reinvent the wheel. And it's like, you don't have to, you know,
it drives me crazy.
Just stick with it. Because I think like, that's what I've been hearing is that the gameplay loop is super fun. It's got rough edges. It felt rushed. Hopefully now they can build off of this and actually put something out that feels a little bit more polished.
I also really want Sonic to go back to being like fun island time vibes. Like I felt like the first three Sonic games to me, maybe not the first one, but at least 2 and 3 feel like just like summertime games, especially everything in 3 and Knuckles. Like you got that Angel Island music going on. It's great. And this one is just like, it didn't just eat Breath of the Wild's lunch. It ate its dinner and next day's breakfast. Like it is like ambient piano, very serious. Like,
yeah, until it gets to the screamo boss music.
Oh my God. Yeah. that I do kind of like, I'm into it a little bit. I'll admit it. But no, I mean like, even though the story as far as I've experienced it is just, you know, absurd. The thing that they got really right, and again, really can't believe I'm saying this, are the character interactions. Like, one of my favorite parts in this game is you kind of go between 4 different biomes, and each one focuses on Sonic rescuing one of his friends, Amy, Knuckles, Tails. Every single Sonic and Knuckles interaction was so sick. Like they were like, normally it's like, oh, I'm Knuckles. I'm a big, strong guy. All right, Knuckles, I'm going to go really fast. But this one was like, they're like throwing shade at each other constantly and giving each other side eye and are like, you feel that rivalry that I felt as a kid when like Knuckles breaks out of the ground and takes the Chaos Emeralds and you just want to beat his ass. I can't believe I'm on a podcast right now saying to play Sonic Frontiers, but you know what? Hey, if it's on sale, play Sonic Frontiers. It's fun.
The question is it better than Genshin Impact or not? That's the real question.
I will never touch that game. I can't touch that game. There's too many things. You talk about addictive games. I know too many people. If you've lost a friend to Genshin Impact,
I have.
Matthew knows a legal team that you might be able to contact.
It's me.
It's Matthew, because they're all lawyers.
Stoner, and stoner.
Awesome. Well, I think that does it for this week's episode on the Game Awards. Miles, thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Oh, guys, thank you for having me. This was a blast.
Oh, yeah. We'd love to have you back anytime.
Thanks to MilkyWay.co, who does our website. Thanks to Corduroy for doing our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, you can find me most places online as PDYX.
Hey, I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Miles? Where can people find you online?
You can find me pretty much everywhere at the Miles Luna. I'll plug it real quick. December 19th and 21st on my Twitch channel, same name at the Miles Luna. I'll be doing a charity stream for the National Association for Voice Actors. If you're able to stop by, would love to see you there. If not, you're dead to me. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, at the Miles Luna, it's pretentious, and it's how you'll find me everywhere.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, check out his voice work, folks, obviously, as well. Like, Miles has a long history of doing voiceover and cartoons and lots of great content online. You can find a lot of great stuff of Miles on the internet out there if you look hard enough.
Oh, hey, I'm going to do one more shameless plug.
Do it.
If you like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, go on Steam, wishlist a little game I wrote called Slave Zero X. That game is going to be super cool. And yeah, it is some over-the-top melodramatic action that I hope people are going to enjoy. So
yeah, I've got that wishlisted right now. I'm very excited. I love the aesthetic of that game. And yeah, very much looking for. We'll have to get you back on the show whenever that game comes out.
Oh, that would be a blast, man. That would be great.
But you have to bring keys. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Folks, if you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook, and maybe TikTok. I'm not sure who even has access to that thing. We also have a website, www.switchheadz.com. And then we've dropped it a few times during this episode, but join our Discord, folks. We got a fantastic Discord community. Man, some of the best people on the internet. It's always bustling. Really non-toxic, beautiful group of people. We love hanging out in there. We also have our Facebook group as well, which is also non-toxic and beautiful. That's going to do it for our episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening in. We're going to be back next week. I kind of gave a little hint about it, but I think we're going to be talking about the Metal Gear franchise next week. After now I've finished this year of Metal Gear games, the other hosts are graciously allowing me some time to talk about my experience. And we have a great guest for that as well, so make sure you tune in. Other than that, guys, that's going to do it. You know the drill. We love you. Stay safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Until next week, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.